so many men enter the program, a large percentage of them with this idea, well, if my wife would just change, if she would just take care of her stuff on her end, then we'd be great. When is she going to realize how amazing I am?
Or
Yeah.
why don't you just love me for who I am?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is who I am. Just accept me.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that was me. Like,
Okay.
I can't make you happy. Why can't you just love me for who I am? I'm a good person, right?
Yep. And then you wrote your letter, you went, wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I've been feeding myself a story.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the TPM Show. And you do not want to miss this episode because we are here with Coach Chris. Chris Andreessen has been through the program and his journey is an epic one. And today we're going to talk about that. Also, if you stick to the end, we're going to tell you about a new program that is coming out for TPM. Chris, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, Doug, great to see you, man.
Yeah, it is. So last time you were here, you were going through kind of an advanced retreat. We won't go into details with TPM. And you had an epiphany during that time, which was to continue your journey. Let's go back to give these guys who may not know your story. I know your story really well, but guys who may not know your story, talk about where Chris 1.0 used to be. Yeah,
it's been quite the journey for me. You know, I found I was a business owner, I owned bike shops for years, and I was married. I've been married for a long, long time, and the relationship was difficult up and down all the time. Like I thought I'd have it figured out, we'd crash again over and over, and I got kind of fed up with things, and just you guys popped up, and I signed up. And I was thinking it was 2020. I joined that program. And it was definitely kind of my activation. It was my awakening of what I was doing. I just realized my whole life I was kind of just leading with my head and not really with my heart. And there was a lot of ego. And it was just a hard time. Like I just feel like I was always kind of smashing through walls that was just always being put in front of me. So I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it totally does. I think a lot of guys can relate to that. Because it feels like if you don't smash through those walls, your wheels are just spinning, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to, a lot of us guys will find a way to get through whatever we have to do. If that we have to take more caffeine to work more. If I work harder, then I'll get through it. And then when things at home aren't working well with our ladies, right? It feels like everything's a bigger deal. There's more pressure. It's hard to focus on our jobs because home base is insecure.
Oh, it was such the truth. As soon as the relationship was in turmoil, I couldn't focus on anything else. I couldn't do anything else. It was I was just in this stuck spot. And so, you kept trying to go back to the wheel to reinvent it and try to find out how do you become better? How do you do this? How do you fix this problem over and over and over again? And so when I finally met you, found you guys, signed up for the program, I started recognizing so many things that I was missing. Like you guys talk about all the time, you know, we think we were just supposed to be providers, protectors, right? And I did that well, right? But I was missing so many parts. I was not that comfortable, safe, emotional spot for her. I wasn't showing up, and I was showing up the ways I thought culturally as a man needed to show up, right?
Yeah.
And I just missed the target for what her needs were.
I was in the same boat. And when I think about protector, right, as a guy, we think physical protection, right? I'll keep you safe. You know, no, if someone breaks in here, I'm on it. You know, my wife has me sleep everywhere we travel. I sleep on the side of the bed closest to the door. You know, sometimes like, wait a minute, why am I supposed to be the one? But what I missed, and it sounds like maybe you did, and maybe guys listening to, is the provider protector. We forget that there's an emotional protection that gets to happen. And most women, when I talk to them, will say that the emotional protection is more important than the physical protection.
Yeah, and I think I just don't think all of us were born maybe with a high emotional IQ, or we didn't have the parents that provided us with that education, because you're not getting that through the school systems, right? Like, and so you only know what you know, right? And so that was the big part. I just didn't understand what I was missing, and that's how you guys helped me with. It was really finding myself, learning that more difficult levels of emotional intelligence and intimacy. I was missing that too. You know, I think as guys, we find this like formula that does the trick. Seems like we're happy, and then we rinse and repeat. Well, that's not what true intimacy really is, right? We miss that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember 2020, you went on to go to the Alpha Reset that time. We did it in Wales. That was great. It was kind of a reunion because everybody knows what happened in 2019, 2020. We had the pandemic going on. Also, a lot of guys don't realize we've been around for 8 years. Right. So it's been quite a while, because I can imagine some people going, 2020, I just found this. You go through the Alpha Reset. I'm going to guess, because I was there, you had a few insights.
Wow.
I remember day 2 in particular, but if you know, you know. It was a very powerful day. Tell us what evolves, because we know, hey, stuff at home wasn't going well. I was in the same boat with my relationship. What happened afterwards?
Yeah, that event in general is the most life-changing event of my life. And not just to say that, but it really was. You dive into spaces that you've been burying a long time, right? And it brings up emotions and feelings that you've done an amazing job stuffing, and getting those out in a space where you feel so supported. And at that point, I got kind of an advantage because we had to push it off so long. So a lot of the guys in my group, I knew them pretty well. So I actually when I showed up there, I had some really good friends already there. And
hey guys, I wanted to interrupt this episode because it's dawned on me that many of you guys aren't aware that we actually have a book on how to save your marriage without talking about it. Now, thousands of men have read it, they've reviewed it, and I want to give you the opportunity to do the same. If you're interested in grabbing it, it's a short read, but it's helped a lot of men just like you. And maybe you're not interested in the activation method yet, but this is a small entry point that can really turn things around for you. Go over on Amazon. We have it priced as cheap as Amazon will let us. And that way you have a resource that you can use right now to start getting some results in your marriage. Now let's get back to the episode.
So yeah, it was just to really kind of release a lot of that deep turmoil that I've had in me for so long. And so when you leave that event, you feel so light and so ready to take on more challenges of your life.
And you took on quite a few more challenges after that, as space becomes free, right? Especially for us men that are high achievers, you go after, and what happens, what a lot of guys don't realize, at least it happens, I see it happen a lot for men, is when home base starts to get taken care of, it frees you up so much. And a lot of guys will say, I didn't realize how much this was weighing me down until it's released, right? Or it comes back again, and then you realize, oh crap, here I am again.
Yeah. I think truly we'd like to think we don't have a capacity, right? We think we can just keep filling ourselves and just like that, but that's not the case. It really is. We have to if we have that negative impact, we have to deal with that. We have to fix it before we can move forward, right? And that's what happens is, guys, I think we get stuck. We get stuck in these loops, and we're holding on to this negative, maybe it's traumas, maybe it's just a negative part of a relationship, and you just can't move forward until it's dealt with, right? And especially in a relationship, I think with guys, we get so wrapped around that how are we ever going to get that opportunity to go accomplish these goals that we need to do over here when we're just still looping right here, and there's so much energy and focus there.
Yeah, I agree. Well, when you were going through the activation method, was there a time when you had the aha moment, as Tim would say, as the penny drops, or when you go, oh man, it's not her, or whatever your story was coming into it?
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, every week of it was that for me, because I was missing so many parts of what I needed to do. But I think the big one is when I was working on that clean slate letter. That letter there, when you're writing down everything and just taking ownership and accountability for yourself for the first time, you stop pointing the finger, right? Yeah. And that was a big one for me.
Well, essentially you're putting a mirror in front of your face, right?
Yeah.
So many men enter the program, a large percentage of them, with this idea, well, if my wife would just change, if she would just take care of her stuff on her end, then we'd be great. When is she going to realize how amazing I am?
Or why don't you just love me for who I am?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is who I am. Just accept me.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that was me. Like,
okay,
I can't make you happy. Why can't you just love me for who I am? I'm a good person, right?
Yep. And then when you wrote your letter, you went, wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, I've been feeding myself a story.
Yeah.
Well, I always say, and someone told me this a long time ago, early in my journey, I started working on this stuff in high school. I was just always gravitated toward it. So I would get my dad's business cassette tapes. I'd go to the library. I'd check out personal development. I don't know why I was always into it, but I've always been into this journey. And when I look at this, of this kind of like this concept of how do you own your side of the street? How do you actually be able to look at yourself and realize that reflection? Like, this is who I really am versus this is the mask. And what I was getting to is, someone told me, is we lie to ourselves more than we lie to anybody else. And it's a safety mechanism that's built in. It's built into every human to tell ourselves a story to make ourselves feel okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a quote that I just ran across. It says, if you don't make a change, you've made your choice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's true. We have guys, the most common thing I hear, Chris, guys that come to the Alpha Reset, which you know what that is. It's a life-changing, as you said, event that we have. We have thousands of testimonials at this point, I believe. And within that, then they'll say, hey, this is the most life-changing event, but I wish I would have done it sooner. And a lot of guys, so 2 Alpha Resets ago, I had the pleasure, I didn't run it, but I had the pleasure of coming back here to the ranch. So we have a 106-acre ranch here in Oregon, but we run events. And I just came in to say hi to the guys. Of course, I come in at the end when everybody's on a cloud 9, right? Sometimes I come in the beginning too. And 2 of the guys approached me. They were just talking to him like, this is amazing. You know, I wish I would have done it sooner. I go, oh, you know, when did you start? Like, oh, I've been listening to the podcast for 3 years. The podcast for a year till I finally pulled the trigger. And so a lot of times we just keep putting it off because we want to feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes we don't have the good map of what to do. So we consume information, we consume it, but we don't really have a good action plan. And that's what you guys do so great, right? Like, you guys put that action plan in place, and it's not just consume, like you're actually making moves. And yeah, my testimony was that I wish I would have found you guys. I wish you guys were when I was a teenager, in a sense, right? Because I was almost 40 at that point, or I was 48 years old. So
yeah, well, it's been a great journey. So fast forward, you know, you and I have been talking over the years about your calling to work with men, and you started working with men, and you've been working with business owners, non-business owners. What's been the difference that you've seen when you've sat at the same table with guys who own a company and guys that work a typical 9 to 5?
Yeah, that's the crazy part, is what I'm seeing is not that different. I mean, all these guys are dealing with the same issues, and for some reason it's all around me right now, maybe because it's opened up to this part of me. But yeah, it's the same stories, it's the same problems in the relationships. It's the I don't feel like there's really that big of a difference. But I think we're all kind of dealing with the same thing, regardless of where you're playing.
I think I'm 100% agreement. When I'm at barbecues or other things, when people find out what I do, because I usually don't talk about it, I'll usually get a couple guys pull me aside and be like, hey, so tell me about that thing you're doing. And they'll want to talk. And it's the same situations, because really what we're dealing with here are the dynamics between men and women, masculine and feminine energy, right? And our society doesn't teach us. We just, it's assumed, right? Hey, I get married, everything's going to be great. Right? I'm not going to be one of the 50% that gets divorced. That's the other guys.
Yeah.
Right? We got this all figured out. And we're not taught the skills necessary to relate, to be in relationship with our female partner.
Yeah.
And then men and women tend to drift apart. You fight, you know, both needs aren't getting met. And so that skill set's not made. But my guess is, if I asked any guy listening to this right now, we do the rocking chair test. Yeah, I know you're familiar with this, but you're 85, sitting on the porch, sipping lemonade, looking back at your life. When you look back at your life over those 85 years, what are the things that are most important to you? Almost 10 out of 10. I've only had like a handful of guys. I've asked this question 1,000 times at least. Maybe 5 guys have said something different. Everybody says their family. Their family is in that list. Could just be kids, could be wife and kids, but usually it's a combination of those things. And what got me thinking about this when I started doing this early on in my coaching career is I go, well, show me on your calendar where your family is. how much you invest all this time learning programming or a job skill or what, and that's great. How much time and money are you investing in learning how to relate to your kids, relationship with your wife? Where is that in your calendar? Pull that up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's how many deep emotional connections can we have in our lives, and those are what we're going to remember, right? And that's kind of what drew me to this work. Like, I like sitting down with these guys and understanding who they are on a soul level. Like, those are the conversation I want to have, and my friendships are getting deeper, and those are the things I'm going to remember, right?
Yeah, when you're making an impact. And coming in here. And guys, I'll give you a little bit of a teaser here. We've been asked this for probably the last 7 years. Why do you guys just work with businessmen? And there was reasons, right? We wanted to make sure there's a niche that we know we have proven track record in. And so we are going to be opening up a version of the activation method for non-business owners, right? So if you guys are interested, you got to go to thepowerfulman.com, and we do have a program. Chris is going to be running the first group going through, and it's going to be the same trainings that everybody gets the results from. So you're going to get access to a very similar program that we've had running successfully for a very long, almost a decade now, which has gotten proven results. So we are opening up. I know a lot of guys are going to be contacting you, Chris, and coming through as we do that. But we are opening this up. It's going to be a separate program, but it is going to be for non-business owners as well. And that's something that guys have been asking for a long time. So thank you for stepping up to the plate and leading the charge.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this, Doug. And I know the need is out there so much. And what you guys do is so incredible. And to be a part of that it's a kind of dream come true to me, like to be out there and help guys at the capacity that we're going to be able to.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, this is something people have been asking for a long time, and we're a movement. I'm a normal guy. I've got 2 kids. It was so funny. Somebody came up to me at this last event we ran, the Alpha Rising, which is the second level of the Alpha Reset. And one of the guys goes, "Hey, Doug, did you do that thing?" Right? And I go, "No, I haven't had time." He's like, "It's only 20 minutes to do it. It'll only take you 20 minutes. I go, "Buddy, I got 1,000 20-minute things."
That's the truth.
Yeah. And right now I got a 4-year-old girl that's upset that I'm here with you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a priority for me. So although this 20-minute thing's important to you and I honor that, my 4-year-old girl is important to me. So we just haven't had the bandwidth to expand and open up that way without, making sure we lose the quality. And, you coming on board has been like the perfect marriage of this mixing together. Like, hey, now is the time we can do this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be great. And I've talked to a couple of just my close friends about it, and they're all really excited to hear what this is going to look like. So
yeah, I mean, the cool thing from my experience of coaching so many men, and previously I coached men and women before TPM, so before 8 years ago, and it just reinforces what you're learning. Like, I'm always in the conversation of being a better father. I'm always in the conversation of being a better friend, a better husband, a better love, all those things, because I'm not perfect. I mean, you know me well. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be, but I'm always striving for more. And you get to be in that conversation day in and day out. Iron sharpens iron, right? Yeah. And so when we get these men together, it forms that brotherhood, as you know, and that bond, and everybody rises.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in this work so much that I know that kind of showing up better for yourself allows you to show up better for your families, allows you to show up better for your communities. Like, this is the work that changes the world. Yeah. It truly is. Like, we're looking for all these other things that are going to flip that switch, but this is it.
Yeah, it's what always, I mean, I don't want to go down this sound like I want to make sure we're giving value to these guys, but when people talk about, we've been around for, I mean, the common thing, I would think, hey, is this a scam? Does it really work? But we have real guys like you that come on, go through the program, and normally be like, I don't want to get on camera and talk about this. They're like, get in front of the seat. Like, I need to tell everybody about this because this stuff works. We've been around 8 years, literally hundreds upon hundreds of testimonials, if not thousands at this point. In some form, we have over 1,000, whether it be text, emails, video, of real men just like yourself, just like myself. We have kids, we have real lives. I still go down to barbecues with my friends and all that good stuff. Still think I'm an athlete at 47, hurting my shoulder or whatever, but I can still play softball. We're real guys doing real things, but we've dedicated our lives to learning and honing these methodologies that we want to pass on to other men. And so when you think about that, is this a scam? We've been around 8 years. We've invested in a 106-acre ranch because we're serious about this. Is what we're doing for the rest of our lives. You've exited your companies to do this. I have with all of my other stuff. Like, this is what we do. And you can look at testimonials from real guys like, hey, I've been through this situation, right? This is what I need help with. And they raise their hands. And when you meet the guys, as you know, like, you form bonds that you never thought you could form.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I'm talking to these guys, the guys I work with, you just feel it because you were there. You were in the trenches. You feel that pain that they're going through. And it just drives you to like help them take that next step.
Absolutely
Right?
does. Yeah. So as you're going through your journey now, as you're on your path going through and you come to the ranch, what's next for Chris?
Wow. That's a big question. Yeah. I would say, obviously the new program and focusing on getting that launched and just being there and be supportive on that. But my journey started really with you guys 4 years ago. And when you start down that path, all of a sudden all these doors open up, right? And I just am excited for each new opportunity that comes. And so before I was so distracted with everything, you couldn't always have that opportunity to see what's behind that next door. So there's a lot more to that story that I can share as I get through these more doors.
And that reminds me of an analogy that someone said one time is if there's a party going on in the backyard, right, of someone's house, a pool party, loud music, barbecue, what have you. If you walk to the front door, you can't necessarily know what's happening. It looks like a normal house. Nope, you ring the doorbell, no one's answering. As you turn the corner, right, it's a new change in your life, a new chapter, a new thing you've unfolded to go to the back. You're in the side yard. All of a sudden you start hearing faint music. You're like, hey, there's something going on here. And as you go on your journey, get closer to that gate of the backyard, now you can start hearing the party on the other side. And then when you open the gate and you walk in, now all of a sudden you see the party, kids or adults laughing in the pool, tossing a football, whatever it may be. But you didn't know the party existed from the front door. And it's along your journey, keep peeling back those layers, keep taking step after step forward. That's how you get to the party, even if you know it's not there. And I'm going to guess that most men listening to this have an inkling in the back of their mind that there is a party around that corner, and they just don't know how to get there. And so at TPM, we have 2 entry programs, right? We have one, which is relationships, which will be opening up to non-business owners coming up here in the coming weeks. And then we also have one that's just about self, right? We've been doing that one for 8 years. I'm stuck. I'm just not sure what the next step is. But either way, and guys, listen to me. Even if you don't want to go through TPM, do something. Take that step to find out what is going on in the backyard. Take that step around the corner. Going around the corner in the gate can be scary, especially if you don't know what's back there, right? Maybe it's a Doberman or big dog that's going to bite you. You don't know, but you will never know if you don't take that first step.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's a path that you just don't know where to start and where to go. But there is so many more resources now. I mean,
Yes.
just the podcast that you guys have, you can punch in any topic you want, and you guys, well, you have something on it, which is great. And so that's new. That stuff didn't exist 10, 15, 20 years ago. So, but you're right. You have to take that step.
Yeah. Here's a pro tip someone shared with me. Guys, if you're not watching us on YouTube, go over to YouTube, subscribe, of course, because that helps us get in front of other men. But also YouTube has an amazing search engine. So if you go to the Powerful Man's channel, you can type in any topic into the YouTube search, and it'll pull up one of our podcasts or our shows related to that topic or a series of them. Because what they do is they search through the entire transcript of everything we're talking about. So if you want to know more about Chris has been on a couple times. You can find out his journey as well. If you want to know more about relationships, or maybe it's infidelity, or another topic that relates to you personally, go over there and type that in and use YouTube's resources and find that, and you can download them and listen to them at your convenience.
Yeah, I've done it many times. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks again for all that you do, and thanks for being here at the TPM Ranch.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. So
awesome, brother. Hey, guys, as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. And what I'm talking about is do what Chris is talking about. He took massive action to change his world. And if you resonate with what Chris is talking about, go back. In fact, if you go to YouTube, you can search Chris and see his original testimonial from 2020. These are real men doing real work, getting real results, right? The key is you have to do the work. as people say, no one can do the push-ups for you. You just got to do it. But you got to take that first step. You have to start your journey. And maybe your journey is just going over to YouTube and doing some research, getting some more education. That's cool. But don't be like the other people that wait 3, 4, 5 years of listening to the podcast, not getting the results they deserve or are necessary. Take the first action. And if you don't want to work with TPM, that's cool, but go somewhere and do something. I want you guys to have the best. This is the time I have with you is just right now. I want you to get results no matter what you do. Of course, if TPM sounds like something you're interested, we'd love for you to consider your journey with us. We do have a selection process. We are opening up to non-business owners in just a few weeks. So go over to thepowerfulman.com, submit a form just so we know your interest level. Chris will reach out to you personally so you'll have a conversation with him to see if it's a good fit. Again, these are just conversations. It's real guys, man to man. Is this the right step for your journey? But whatever you do, do something. And I'll see you next time on the TPM Show.